Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart, the best there is, best there was, and the best there ever will be. And you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Smack Raw podcast. This is our War Games predictions episode. We're running a two-man show right here. My name is Vince. I'll be your host, and I'm here with my good friend Sebastian, the AJ Styles of podcasting. What's up, my man?
Not much, man. Getting ready to take over.
There you go. Hey, I love the pun game you got going on, which is fitting given that we had the master of puns, Becky Lynch, on NXT TV last night. But let's look ahead to this Saturday's War Games. And not too many matches. Usually War Games have about 5 matches tops. Sometimes, occasionally, they'll have a 4-match card. The last time they did that, I believe, was actually at last year's War Games. So it's not like too odd to have a War Games or like a takeover in this instance only have 4 matches, and given that we're going to have 2 War Games matches in of itself, those are probably going to get like 20-30 minutes just by themselves. Is there any match before we go match by match, is there anything you're looking forward to the most going into takeover War Games?
I'm really excited for it all. I'm excited to see Finn back in on a take. The triple threat should deliver. The women have their first ever War Games match. The Undisputed Era always deliver in War Games. Plus, we still have a mystery partner. So, yeah, I'm excited for it all, man. There's nothing really to look.
For sure, man. And we're going to get ready to talk some wrestling between the two of us, but we also want to talk wrestling with the rest of you guys. So make sure you reach out to the show at SmackRawPod on Twitter. You can reach out to me at SESVince. You can find Sebastian at WrestlingFan_32. But with that being said, let's just get right down to it. The very first match we're going to be talking about is, like you mentioned, Finn Balor back in NXT, his first takeover in years, honestly. I can't remember the last time he was at takeover. He's going to be taking on the King of Bros, Matt Riddle, right off the bat. Is it just kind of plain and obvious that Finn is going to win here, or what do you think, Sebastian?
I would imagine. Really, the only way I could see Finn losing is if the NXT move is a short-term thing. Even then, I don't think that they'd want to make him lose and then jump him back up to the main roster. So every way you go, really, you'd think Finn would win.
Exactly, and like we were saying, this is his first takeover. This is his first match in NXT, period. He hasn't had a match on NXT TV just yet. So with that being said, I mean, come on, like, I love Matt Riddle, and obviously the original match was supposed to be Johnny Gargano versus Finn Balor, which is what they were setting up with the initial Finn Balor heel turn. But I'm okay with this match as well. I'm hoping we still get the Johnny Gargano match, but I'm with you here, Sebastian. I'm going to go ahead and predict and say Finn Balor gets the win. This is probably going to be one of the better matches all weekend, and I'm here for it. Matt Riddle be okay. I guess one of these guys, because I don't think both of them can be, but I guess one of these guys will be in the NXT Men's Survivor Series team. I'm guessing whoever picks up the victory, in this case Finn, doesn't go in there. Maybe like finishes above Brand here. And Matt Riddle, even though he loses to Finn, but he gets added to the Men's Survivor Series team with Ciampa on Sunday. Do you think that's a fair way to go, or do you think it should be Finn?
No, I definitely expect the reason. I mean, even on Finn's promos, he talks about the NXT locker room just not being good. So I don't think he's high enough on the hoorah, we're in NXT, side of things to really rep right now.
No, yeah, for sure. And like I was saying, Triple H was one of those guys that was like his name was thrown out as a possibility to be a member of Team NXT on Sunday, but he didn't want it because it should have been for like the younger superstars, get their exposure out there, make their name on the main stage, one of the big 4 of WWE. And as much as I love Finn, he's a big name in of itself. He doesn't need the added rub of being on Survivor Series. In fact, I think he'll be perfectly okay taking a back seat and letting Matt Riddle, obviously we're breaking kayfabe here, but he'd be perfectly okay with Matt Riddle having a spot in the men's Survivor Series team. But yeah, with just going about this match, so we're both in agreement. Finn Balor gets the win here.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we'll move on to a match that was supposed to take place last night on NXT TV, but obviously without the chaos that happened, check out our NXT recap episode to go more into details about that. But there was so much going on. Obviously, they didn't have time for this match. The fact that they moved it over to War Games is kind of cool because now these guys are going to have a real shot at going out there and putting on a great match and really getting 20 to 30 minutes just by themselves. I'm talking about the triple threat match between Killian Dane, Damian Priest, and Pete Dunne. Who you got?
Dunne.
You got Pete Dunne?
Pete Dunne.
Okay. Any reason for it? What makes you choose him?
Killian Dane versus Adam Cole on Survivor Series. Just, I wouldn't have a problem with them having a match. It just doesn't seem Survivor Series type match.
Mm-hmm.
Damian Priest as well. I don't know if he's been there long enough to warrant having a Survivor Series match already. But Pete Dunne has that history. He had the long reign of NXT UK channel. More familiar if he got the shot, and you would also have the face versus heel dynamic. And we all know how the main roster sticks to that for the most part.
Yeah, I get that. For me, I'm also going to go with Pete Dunne here. I know we're kind of starting off this prediction show just agreeing with each other, but I feel like it's Pete Dunne because between all three of the guys, he is the bigger name. He has actually been on main roster twice now. He showed up on a random episode of Raw to beat up Enzo Amore. He showed up. I lied. I thought he was in the Royal Rumble. I don't think he was, but he has been on the main roster before, and he was the former UK champion. And if you want, I think it was more of it's Survivor Series. You want your biggest names possible. I don't think there's going to be any lingering storyline narrative that's going to be carried on after Survivor Series. I think it's just going to be just a one-off match between Pete Dunne and Adam Cole, where probably spoiler for Survivor Series, but I think Adam Cole wins. Yep. For sure. And so far right now we both got Finn Balor picking up his debut match in NXT, and we also got Pete Dunne winning that triple threat match. So let's go into the meat of this pay-per-view and talk about the two key matches that this whole pay-per-view is structured around. We're talking about the War Games matches. We got two this year. For the first time ever, we got the women having their very first War Games match. And what I liked about it is that it wasn't about kind of like what they do on main roster, kind of like what CM Punk alluded to on his appearance on WWE Backstage, where he thinks that the women are a plus for wrestling in WWE right now. NXT as a whole is a great thing as well, and the NXT women are just a combination of all those great things rolled into one, and I think it's deserving that they get this match. I liked how it was set up because storyline wise it was Shayna Baszler just picking on Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox. It was Bianca, Io, Rhea, everybody, and Candice, everybody coming for Shayna. And I don't agree with Bianca and Io being on the same team as Shayna because they want the title. So why would you want to help the champion? That still makes no sense to me. However, I like that it was a bunch of chaos and War Games just made sense as opposed to how we were talking about in Hell in a Cell, where it does feel like sometimes with Hell in a Cell or these gimmick pay-per-views on main roster is that you're just setting up, you're just doing this match because that's the gimmick pay-per-view and there's no payoff. It's not the end of a feud. There's no big storyline implication as to why we're having this gimmick match, but it makes sense with this situation, I think. And going right into it, we'll talk about the teams. We have Team Ripley, who is consisted of obviously Rhea Ripley herself. She is the team captain. She has Tegan Nox, She has Candice LeRae, and she also has, who am I missing? Mia Yim. So it's Mia Yim, Candice LeRae, Tegan Knox, and Rhea Ripley taking on the team of Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and the NXT UK Women's Champion Kaylee Ray. Now, Sebastian, we'll go right into it go right into it and just ask, like, how familiar are you with Kaylee Ray?
Since AEW has came out, I've had less time to watch NXT UK, but before AEW and NXT picked up 2 hours, I'm pretty much watched it, weekly. So yeah, I know Kayla.
Gotcha. So I think her being added is kind of nice, a nice little wrinkle to it. Personally, do you have any way you lean in this match? Because these War Games matches, both of them kind of seem like a toss-up for me. I don't know which team's gonna win. Obviously, Team Ripley has the advantage because the match advantage, or whatever that may mean, in the fact that Io beat Mia Yim in the ladder match, where Kaylee Ray revealed herself as the final member of Team Baszler. So they have the advantage going into this match. That changes your prediction into who wins this, or do you still think it's going to go a specific way?
Not necessarily, because I feel like in War Games it only makes sense if the heel team has them. I think every match they've had, including the two they're having Monday, that's how. But man, this one is tough to call. This is probably the toughest one.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams kind of have, I would say, candidates to, take a fall. Mia Yim has it well, so you could see her take. Tegan Knox is just from her injury, so a loss doesn't really kill her. It's kind of like Pete Dunne, their triple threat match on Takeover 2 takeovers ago against Velveteen and Roderick.
Mm-hmm.
I said I felt like they brought him in a match to kind of take the pinfall,
which he did, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I could kind of see that happen with Kaylee Ray here. But, top to bottom, I feel like the heel team does have the advantage when you go Bianca and Io.
Mm-hmm.
You could see, at the same time, a turn. Well, not a turn, because I'm not sure it would really turn them, but you could see a betrayal, I guess. You could see Io abandon ship on Shayna or Bianca to set up a title match.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of variables in this match. If I had to pick a winner, I would say the heels. And maybe that's why I feel like the next challenger will probably be Bianca or Io.
Right.
So maybe that's something to set it up. And, kudos to NXT. The women's division, since they went to 2 hours, I kind of feel like they had the same vibes as the SmackDown 6.
Mm-hmm.
Just kudos to them. They've done an excellent job.
And here's the thing. A lot of people, including myself, were concerned about the women's division, given that a lot of big names left. If you look at Kairi Sane, Iconics, Iconics, they left. Asuka was gone. So many, even lower names like Lacey Evans. I'm not saying anything bad about Lacey. It's just that she wasn't used that much in NXT. So you look at the NXT women's division, and it's like you were slowly building up Io. You had Bianca at a certain level. Candice LeRae, they weren't using for the longest of time, and that was one of the biggest critiques that people and fans in general had of NXT, is that, man, they utilize a lot of these wrestlers, but they don't really utilize Candice LeRae. And maybe it was a thing where just a 1 hour show, you don't have enough time to highlight everyone. And with the 2 hour format now, maybe it's gone that way. She's had her feud with Io Shirai. They've built that. Shayna Baszler is arguably the best, if not the most dominant NXT Women's Champion, right behind Asuka. And it's just a bunch of names coming over from UK, like Rhea Ripley, like other names like Mia Yim, Tegan Knox, Dakota Kai all coming back from injury. So there's a lot to talk about, and there's still names that haven't debuted, like Toni Storm, who's been rumored to be part of the NXT women's division for a long time now, and she hasn't even been shown. So I think the NXT women's division is probably like the strongest women's division in all of wrestling, other than maybe Impact Wrestling. That's the one thing they can have their hat on, is that their knockouts division literally knocks it out of the park almost every single time. So I know both these teams are going to be good. I'm gonna contradict you here, Sebastian, and say that it's the faces that win here, because we gotta remember Shayna does have a match this Sunday against Becky Lynch and Bayley, and if she is in fact the one that takes the loss, or is the one that doesn't win, she could use the fact that she was in War Games and she got beaten up and she lost as an excuse as to why she didn't pick up that victory. She can say, like we were mentioning, Io and Bianca both want that title. Like you mentioned, it could be a betrayal of sorts. You think it might be the heels because they have the bigger names, and that's a fair case to be made. But I think there's just a little bit more continuity on Team Ripley, and I think Ripley is actually the next challenger in line to face Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's title. So I see it going in a way where Bianca and Io just double cross Baszler, Kaylee Ray, everybody turns their back on Shayna Baszler, and that's where Rhea Ripley gets the win, pins Shayna Baszler, gets the number one contendership. I think that's the setup there.
Well, I could do that.
Yeah, so that's what we got for that. So far, running it down, we both got Finn Balor winning. We both have Pete Dunne. We finally differ here. I have Team Ripley, with Rhea Ripley actually being the one that pins Shayna, and Shayna's team actually betrays her. You got actually the heels picking up the win here, so it sets up either Io or Bianca to be the next challenger for Shayna. So we'll see. Either way, you can't really go wrong, because all of these women are great talents, and a Shayna match with either Ripley, Io, or Bianca, who can really complain, right? Okay. So, last match on the card, it is the men's War Games match. We have the 4 members of Undisputed Era. They're going to be taking on Team Ciampa, who is comprised of, what's his name? Damn it, Dominic Dijakovic. I always mess up his name and forget it. So it's Team Ciampa with Dominic Dijakovic, Keith Lee, and that's it. They don't have a 4th member. They haven't revealed it. They're probably going to wait until last minute at War Games when they have that moment. So it's probably going to be the men's that's going to close off the show, just to have that big surprise reveal at the end. I could be wrong. Maybe they start off the pay-per-view. But it does look like it's going to be Team Ciampa having the mystery member revealed on Saturday. It was Matt Riddle, but he was added into that Finn Balor match. So with that being said, if you lose Matt Riddle and you go down the NXT men's roster, there's not too many big names out there that can fill in that big surprise element, except for maybe a Velveteen Dream. And he was injured. I don't know if he's healthy. I don't know if you know any. Have you heard anything, whether he's healthy, or is there anyone on the roster right now that you could be like, oh, they'd be a big enough name, that they're bigger or equal to Matt Riddle?
No, and last I heard was the Velveteen would be out till early 2020. So I don't look for it to be Velveteen. A while back it was rumored that John Morrison signed, and I think if that's the case, this is what we're going to see.
I mean, but we've been predicting John Morrison's reveal for debut with WWE for weeks now. We've been predicting this, and he just hasn't shown up.
True, but in NXT, in the 7 weeks that we've been live now, or I guess 9 because they had the 2-week jump. We've had the Ciampa return. We've had Finn Balor return to NXT. We've had big things, and maybe they didn't want to take some of the thunder away from it because of all this other stuff been surprising us with. And like you said, there's no one else really on the roster other than Velveteen. And, Triple H in his conference call, he said it was going to be epic, a big surprise.
In the conference call, Triple H actually was referencing to Survivor Series, saying that the final member of Team NXT for Survivor Series was going to be a surprise. Unless I completely misread that whole thing, NXT doesn't have their team set, but I'm guessing their team is going to be set and finalized tomorrow on SmackDown. So we're going to have like 4 guys there.
So Sean Ross, he was on the conference call and he said that Triple H was referring to Team Ciampa for War Games, and I kind of lean that way. I didn't watch it, so context clues, I wasn't there, or I didn't see him say it. I was just going off while I was reading. With it just sounds weird that at the time he said it, Survivor Series team had no one. It just feels weird to say, we don't know any member, but our 5th one, buddy, it's going to shock you. It just sounds weird to me. So, I think he was referring to Team Ciampa. And if it's anybody from the main or the NXT roster, like you said, there's really no one on that level.
So let me ask you this before we over here talk about who is going to win this match. Have you considered the possibility that this is where we see someone defect from Raw or SmackDown and go to NXT and join? Because you saw the angle where Kevin Owens was being offered. Because here's the thing, so on Raw, Kevin Owens was actually offered the opportunity to join NXT by Triple H. And before he got his answer, like obviously he had the NXT people out there. He's like, these people aren't here to attack you, Kevin. They're here to make sure that this conversation can happen. The Raw locker room comes out, the SmackDown locker room comes out, and they have like a whole brawl and they attack NXT. In the midst of it, like Kevin Owens and Triple H are still going back and forth, but Adam Cole and Undisputed Era jump the gun. They go ahead and attack and jump Kevin Owens. And if you saw right there, Adam Cole and Triple H were having words there. Obviously, Triple H was not in agreement. He did not plan for Kevin Owens to get jumped. That was actual genuine, like a genuine offer and emotion from Triple H. So
it definitely was.
So my prediction here, again, NXT, like Kevin Owens, like that whole promo, that whole thing he had with Triple H. It's very raw. It's very real. It feels like it's genuine. Like it stems from like some like place of realism, where like kayfabe and real life kind of like mesh and come into one, and they kind of like blur. So Kevin Owens actually, when he was drafted to Raw, he had like this interview where it was very passionate, but he was mad that he was drafted. Not that he was mad that he was drafted to Raw. He was just mad that he was drafted so late in the draft, that he felt he was mad because he should have been a higher pick, because he thought he was that big of a name and big of a get, and they never actually aired it. So he hasn't been like 100% happy with Raw, hasn't been 100% happy with SmackDown. He hasn't really been used to his full capability on either show on main roster. NXT is where Kevin Owens was Kevin Owens. He, like Triple H was saying, he was one of the biggest names that like put NXT on the map when he came out as NXT champion and just beat up John Cena. I
get that.
So
if Survivor Series wasn't the day after, then I'd totally be on board with that, and I'd probably be predicted it myself. But I feel like if that's a turn that's going to happen, it's going to happen at Survivor Series, and he's going to turn on somebody on the main roster. I don't think he's just going to show up and be like, "Hi, Undisputed Era, you hit me." I think he's going to stunner Seth Rollins, for example. I don't know. That would get a pop from the crowd right now for sure.
I mean, it could be a thing where like, okay, so hypothetically, let's just assume like it does happen. Kevin Owens is the guy because he was jumped by Undisputed Era. You can make a case that he's a big name right there. Kevin Owens kind of fits that mold of what Triple H was talking about, and they can either go two ways with that. Obviously, if Kevin Owens is in there, he wins. And then the following night, given that he's on Team Raw, it's very problematic. So they can either do two things, where they just say that that was him defecting to NXT, and he's going to be on Team NXT for Survivor Series, and that leaves Raw trying to scramble to find someone like an Andrade who put on a great match. And Raw, see, here's the thing: Raw has enough male singles talents that they can weather the loss of a Kevin Owens. So,
I get it.
So,
if there's a turn, I see it happening on the main roster.
No. I'm saying, so let's say, okay, so like I was saying, so if it is Kevin Owens, like they can go that way. They can go the route where he's like, he defected, he's NXT now, he's joined Team Ciampa, he's out of Team Raw, he's on Team NXT for Survivor Series. Or they could do a thing where it was more of a, hey, I was in the area, Undisputed Era, we got unfinished business. We're going to settle this. I'm not part of NXT, but I'm here. I'm joining Team Ciampa. They didn't say it had to be an NXT member. So he could still technically be Raw. And then the storyline for Team Raw could be, oh, you're going to defect us. You betrayed us. You're a traitor. You went to NXT. You're supposed to be representing Raw. They're over here attacking us. And you over here you're over here siding with them and being on one of their shows. And in the midst of it, like you were saying, Kevin Owens just gets sick of it. He's like, you know what? Nobody's here for me. I'm all about Kevin Owens now. You know, I'm going to take care of myself. NXT is the only place where they actually showed that they cared about me, and does the full defection and betrayal of Team Raw. It stuns Seth Rollins, like you said, and does pose a big show when he had it was the Authority versus Team WWE, and just double crosses Team Raw, where I could see him come in, stun Seth Rollins, someone on NXT picks up the pin, and Kevin Owens just walks out and gets counted out. So we can have our cake and eat it too. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just think the main focus of, and that's, you can have the turn and still have this. I think the main focus for the Survivor Series match is going to be Rollins versus Ciampa. Kind of versus, because it's a triple threat, as weird as a 5-on-5 is. I think the main focus will be Rowan versus Ciampa versus Rollins. Ciampa and Rollins teased a lot on social media, and then you had to brawl with Rollins and Ciampa at the end of NXT. I don't think they would make it more confusing by having KO show up on NXT and be on their show while they're having this brand supremacy thing. So I feel like they would just be confusing, a lot of the audience.
Probably.
And it would kind of be, spitting in your own face. You trying to sell an entire pay-per-view on, who's the better brand. And then the night before, you have KO just show up on another brand and compete in a War Games match, one of the most dangerous matches they are. So, yeah, if KO defects, I see it happening Sunday and not Saturday.
I don't know. I could see both things happening, because, like we were saying, unless it's a Velveteen Dream, because that's the thing. Like, if it's not Velveteen Dream, like, you don't take Matt Riddle out of that War Games match and have him a match against Finn. Because here's the thing, Finn, like, yes, he was supposed to have Johnny Gargano, and that was a huge blow. But with Finn, just go out there and have him put him in a match with like an Angel Garza or like a Swerve Scott. Have him put on a really good match, like a good 15 to 20 minute match. Like, not even that, like 10 or 15 minute match, you still get the highlight for Finn, and you build up the Johnny Gargano match later on. The fact that they took out Matt Riddle from that match and put him in a singles match with Finn leads me to believe that it is a big member, a big name that's going to show up.
I don't think that. I think, for a lot of people, it wasn't even a War Games match that people were talking about. I think it was Gargano versus Finn. And taking Gargano out of that, you got to deliver something. Yeah, you can have... I mean, the War Games is going to deliver no matter what. You got those two matches. And, Finn... And no offense to Angel Garza. I mean, I love Angel Garza, and I love Swerve, too. I don't feel like it's a takeover match. And I feel like Finn's first takeover coming back needs to be a takeover feel. Not just something you'd see on a weekly Wednesday. I think that's what they was.
That's a fair point. That's a real fair point. But like I was saying, my big thing is like they don't take a big name like Matt Riddle out of that match, because I feel like the original team was supposed to be Matt Riddle, Dijak, Keith Lee, and Ciampa, but given that that Matt Riddle was taken out and put it in the feud with Finn Balor, leads me to believe, like I said, it has to be a big name. Triple H basically said so himself. So if it's not Velveteen Dream coming back, it has to be a member of the main roster defecting and going to NXT, or a brand new debut, but there's no big names there.
And two, not even just the takeover, field match. You don't want Finn to come over, and no offense to those guys, but they're new. They're just now coming up. If Finn, and, him losing to the Fiend the way he did, and this is his first match since then, what's a win over Angel Garza do for him, really, in a, main outlook? Really nothing.
Puts him on the same level as Angel Garza, dude. Like, Angel Garza is like the future of WWE and pro wrestling in general, man.
I think Angel Garza has a ton of potential. Don't get me wrong. I think he has the making to be an incredible heel. I really do.
Okay, no. But in all seriousness, enough with my whole like Angel Garza stuff. He does kind of have a thing going on with Leo Rush. They have a feud going on. Maybe that match gets added last minute at Takeover War Games, or like gets filmed beforehand. Who knows? We'll find out then. With like I was saying, with the whole Angel Garza, I was just throwing names out. Like, I wasn't actually suggesting it, because they're both heels.
I know what and you said Swerve too, and even Swerve. I mean, Swerve might have won half of his matches so far. I don't see, Finn's first match, kind of a redemption match against Swerve really doing him any favors. If you're going to have Finn come out and win his first takeover match, you want it to be against Gargano or
I mean, I don't look at it. I don't really look at it as like Finn has to have a redemption match, and more as it has to be a statement match. And you can have one of those, kind of like what the Fiend had with Finn, a big name. He goes in there and just destroys Finn. If Finn Balor comes in there with let's say, like I said, like a Swerve Scott comes in there and just beats the crap out of him and goes really ruthless about it, just like he did in New Japan, it could do wonders for Finn and even Swerve Scott, because it sets up a feud for him. Like I said,
you're right, but the thing taking out Balor, that's a former Universal champ, multiple time Intercontinental champ. He has accolades, and that's what made that's such a holy hell. Finn's getting the Fiend's getting a push. Finn takes out Swerve, it's won half his matches. I could have seen that.
See,
Wednesday.
the thing that's happening right now with NXT is that a lot of their single stars are out with injury. You have Kushida, you have Johnny Gargano, you have Velveteen. Those are three big names right there.
And that's the thing too. Just looking at NXT's record with Takeover, they don't throw out matches, and I understand what you're saying. They took out Riddle, and he's a big name, but like I said, the War Games is going to deliver no matter what, no matter who the fourth person is. And NXT don't throw out matches that you'll see on Wednesday on Takeover. They just don't. They throw out the best of the best.
I mean, they did throw out that last minute. Like I said, last year they threw out that last minute Matt Riddle versus Cassius Ohno match.
Yeah, but that was that was just wasn't that really Riddle's. That was just out of nowhere.
Yeah. That
wasn't advertised in advance. Finn being on the card in advance, to actually have to build up to it. It's just, I don't know. I think that's two different things.
For sure, man. Okay, so we're both in agree. We're kind of disagree in terms of like what they should do, like, or who the mystery person is. I'll see what happens this Saturday. We'll find out. But regardless of who the mystery man is, who you got winning? Do you got the Undisputed Era, or is Team Ciampa gonna win?
I picked the heels last time, so I think I'm going to go with the faces here, and I think this is going to be what sets up a Ciampa versus Cole, Ciampa's journey to get Goldie back. And two, I feel like, I don't really want, it kind of hurts it with the build for Survivor Series going on. Mm-hmm. But in a way, I feel like the story's there, you could have Keith Lee and Dijak kind of do the tag titles, Ciampa for the main title, and who am I forgetting? Oh, the mystery guy, and that kind of makes it.
If it's Velveteen Dream, it makes perfect sense because he was taken out by Roderick Strong. They never had their singles match, so it makes perfect sense to continue that story.
And I feel like if the heels were supposed to go over, they would have made this just to make it a bigger match. Not that it necessarily needs it, but it would add, just a big feel to it. All the titles on the line.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this one, just because of that, really just thinking about it, it's about the faces to go over.
So I'm gonna agree with you here too. But I'm agreeing with you for different reasons. I feel like the surprise partner, the mystery person, is either going to be Velveteen or it's going to be Kevin Owens or it's going to be a new superstar that we haven't thought about or someone defecting going to NXT. And the reason why I think that's big, and the reason why I think Ciampa's team is going to win, because I do think that it's either going to be it's Ciampa or Keith Lee that goes into that title program with Adam Cole. If not, Keith Lee and Dijak are going to continue this pairing and go after the tag titles, because right now the tag team division in NXT isn't the best right now. They just had like a great match with Revival and Undisputed Era, but Revival isn't on NXT every week. So you got to give momentum and obviously like a reason as to why things are happening. So Ciampa's going to go after that NXT title. He's going to go after Goldie. Keith Lee, Dijak, they're going to go in there and they're going to have a run at the tag titles, I'm guessing. And the main reason why I think Team Ciampa is going to win is because I think the captain of Team NXT it has to be Ciampa. He has to be the guy that is the captain for Team NXT at Survivor Series. And if you go down the list of guys that are going to be on that team, you can say Dijak, you can say Keith Lee, you can say Matt Riddle, Pete Dunne. But I also think whoever that mystery partner is also going to be a member on Team Survivor Series. So that's my big thing, is that Ciampa has to win, and you have momentum going into Survivor Series. You can say, look, he led his team inside a steel cage to victory at War Games. He's going to do the same thing for NXT. That's why he was team captain. I think that's the story that's going to be told.
Yeah, and you kind of make the counter argument too that at the same time you have your champs, Undisputed and Roderick Strong, losing because they went for a complete war and came out winning, and they were just beat up from it.
Yeah, and it adds a story to Adam Cole when he's going to defend that title against the winner of the triple threat match the following night. You can play up that whole heel, like he's not 100% and he has to, and it doesn't hurt Pete Dunne or whoever Adam Cole faces, where he has to cheat to win or find some underhand tactic to win. And shoot, you saw Adam Cole, he wrestled at War Games, not War Games, I remember a TakeOver whatever last year, and then the following, it was 2 years ago actually, he was at War Games, and then the following night he went and participated in the Royal Rumble. So the guy's tough. He can go through a lot.
That's TakeOver Philadelphia.
Yeah, okay, so that's yeah, so I was that's why. So I was, instead of saying TakeOver, I say it War Games. So I meant the TakeOver following that Royal Rumble 2 years ago.
If I remember right, I think Cole faced Aleister Black.
Yeah, that makes fight. Yeah, that was the street fight where he landed on the back piece of the chair. So brutal match, and then he came out there and competed in the Royal Rumble, another brutal match. So he competed in the ladder match. Now he's going to go inside a cage at War Games on Saturday. Then he's going to go and defend his title on Sunday. I'm sorry. I have too much respect for Adam Cole right now. He's earned my respect over the last couple of years being on NXT. He is that brand. He is the workhorse of that company. And
I'd about bet money he's on SmackDown. So.
Probably too. He's probably going to be on SmackDown too. So man, busy week for Adam Cole. So I think it'll be okay with him losing on Saturday in the War Games, and he will pick up that victory back up on Sunday at Survivor Series. So, with that being said, I think that's it for the show, Sebastian. Anything else you want to add before we take you home?
No, I'm just excited for the weekend, and I'm expecting 2 good shows.
For sure, man. I can't wait. Stay tuned for our Survivor Series predictions episode and our SmackDown recap. We're gonna have Takeover recap, Survivor Series recap, just a lot of content coming through your podcast feed via the Smack Raw podcast. But as far as this one, we're done predicting. We both got Finn. We both got Pete Dunne. We differed on the women's match. We each took different sides, and we both agreed Team Ciampa's going to walk away victor. We're going to see what happens. TakeOver always delivers. I'm excited. I can't wait. But we'll see you guys on the next one. We'll catch you guys later.